also that the throne is a matter of dispute historically within the Zulu nation, as well as even in other nations for that matter around the world. So a commotion of that nature and the gunshots that were heard at a distance, it will not really surprise us, those of us who are aware of the history of Amazulu, knowing that in the past, especially in the two past centuries, particularly in the 19th century, there will even be wars when it comes to the issue of succession to the Zulu throne. Yes.
Now, Prince, how is this supposed to play out? Because, as you mentioned, there will be wars, but and we've already seen the Queen Mantfombi. She's unfortunately passed away, and some believe that it's a result of those wars at play. How is this supposed to play out, and how do we protect the next king that's in line for the throne?
I believe since that now Amazulu Kingdom exists within the condition of having a state that is presiding it in the form of the state of South Africa, I believe that the state should provide all the necessary protection, as we have seen yesterday, that the police force that was there together with the monarchical guard, they took every measure that they could have taken to try to control the situation, so that things don't really get out of hand. So I believe that going forward, they will provide that required protection to the new monarchy and the royal household as a whole. Yeah.
What does history tell us about how bad things can get in a situation like this? I mean, we saw, Prince Amazulu essentially running for his life. How bad can it get, and what will it take for some peace and calm to be restored to the Zulu monarch?
I don't think that we will see any extreme chaos that can play out, because, as I said, that the state can take the necessary measures to control the situation, particularly around the palaces. I believe that the state can provide enough protection. But what happened yesterday, I think it was also necessary for the Prime Minister and everyone who was controlling the situation to make sure that the new incumbent is prepared by any means possible to get him sneaked into the palace in the most safest way. I think it was a necessary measure.
Can you set the scene for us a little bit here? Because some might not be aware exactly as to why the new incumbent king is being contested. What are the bases of those contestations? And is there any other form or any other way that it can be done, especially or perhaps in the court of law, as this comes through a will, the election of the new king?
When I discussed with my fellow historians and writers, we saw it necessary and fit that in the future it would be good if the royal house and the king that we will have to also utilize the technological measures that we have today, especially the audio-visual, because we believe that if the deceased king has made something like a video of sort, where he had called a royal meeting, all the members of the royal family together with the Prime Minister of the nation, and they discussed the issue of the will and the succession, and if it was captured in the audio-visual manner, I don't think that anyone will have power to dispute what has been the last testament of the king.
In an ideal situation, what should have happened? What processes should have been ironed out? Because we're now sitting with the chaos that unfolded. There are court battles which are already underway. What should have happened?
what should have happened is to follow some examples in history. During the time of King Senzangakhona, even though the rivalries they did take place after his passing, but he set an example which we also see in other parts of the world, particularly in the Middle East, like in a kingdom like that of Saudi Arabia. During the time of King Senzangakhona, he was not secretive about whom is he choosing as an heir, whom is he choosing as his successor, because we know that he appointed Prince Baguza at that time, whom according to the protocol of succession, he was born by a great one who was coming from another significant kingdom, which was the kingdom of the Buthelezi clan. So he put up Prince Baguza as his successor. Everyone knew that Prince Baguza was his successor, even though he was not safe enough, because it happened that he took part in the battle that was happening between the Buthelezi kingdom and the Tetra kingdom at that time. And within the Tetra kingdom, there was Prince Shaka, who was going to be future king, but nobody knew at that time. So when they met in the battlefield, Prince Shaka made sure that he slain Prince Baguza. But still, King Senzangakhona had guts to still appoint another and made that heir to be known by the nation. In that case, he appointed Skuchani. So I think if that tradition can be followed now, with the intelligence at the back of our mind to say, if an heir is pronounced in an ample time whereby the nation will know who's an heir, then that heir can be taken to exile to be safe until he returns at the time of succession. I think that would eliminate any dispute if the heir is known by the whole nation. I don't think anyone can have guts to dispute that, to make claim against what the king has declared in front of the nation.
Speaking of exile, of course, we just saw Prince Misuzulu whisked off yesterday in a hurry. Could he have left the country last night to ensure his safety? Could he have perhaps gone to Eswatini, which is not too far from KwaNongoma, about 2 hours or so away?
I can't speculate. I really don't know.
And then in terms of, now obviously the Queen Mother has elected him as her successor. Let's talk about what the Prince would be up to today and going forward, and what should we expect in terms of the succession and him finally getting into getting onto the throne rather.
I think now what we will expect is all the necessary preparations and the implementation of his coronation, which we are not yet clear. We are waiting to hear from the Prime Minister how that process is going to take place. But I think now what you should follow is coronation, and every other custom that should be implemented thereafter.
Right, thank you so much for your time this morning, Prince Zoza Shongwe, who is an expert in traditional affairs. We're going to leave